Welcome to Season 2 of Minding the Gap, Conversations on Gender. As global gender equality decreases, it is critical to share lessons as we work to turn the tide. From migration to sustainability and politics, we're exploring topics where gender is often overlooked, but inspiring stories emerge. You can listen to the entire series, including the first season, on all the major podcasting platforms, as well as our website at ecdpm.org.
For you to find your way out, climbing the ladder, you have to unbox many boxes. Many boxes, including legal frameworks, including traditions, including even your own family, because they feel there are things you can do, but there are things you cannot do. Or including a box of your own self to actually say, I can do this.
Hi there, I am Hanne Knaepen and I'm head of climate action and green transition at ecdpm. I'm here with Lydia Charles Moyo, founder and executive director of the Her Initiative from Tanzania. Welcome, Lydia.
Thank you so much.
The Her Initiative aims to promote financial resilience and digital inclusion amongst girls and young women so they can move out of poverty and have more chances in life, right? Tell us, Lydia, why is the work that you do with the Her Initiative so important?
Thank you very much. I think the work that we are doing, I and my team at Her Initiative, is very important because poverty is a basis for many of young women and girls' challenges in Tanzania. Poverty increases girls and young women's vulnerability. By that, I mean girls are married before age because parents want bride price. Girls get pregnant before age, like teen pregnancy, because they cannot maybe get some of the basic needs. Most girls and young women experience intensive gender-based violence simply because they are financially dependent, and many more that I could list. So at Her Initiative, we feel like financial freedom is one of the tools to actually free young women and girls out of poverty, because once you're financially independent, meaning there's a chance that you have a voice, or we like to say, like, girls get to have more choices to say, I want to do this, I don't want to do this. But when you're financially dependent, the people that provide for you make choices for you, even if they're not of your best interest. But also, the work of economic empowerment and financial freedom is also important because it helps young women and girls participate in decision-making tables. And because you have something you're contributing on the table, you are included in the decisions. But unlikely when you're financially dependent or you live in extreme poverty, other people will make decisions for you. And at the end of the day, having choices, participate in decision-making tables does not really make sense if you as a girl or as a young woman, you're not able to dream and realize your full potential.
Right. I fully agree with what you're saying, but how exactly are you helping girls to empower themselves economically? How do you help them become financially independent?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So at Her Initiative, we use economic empowerment, and we say economic empowerment is not just used for economic outcomes, but also to influence social outcomes like sexual reproductive health and rights. So what do you do is we have a model. Our model has got 4 components. The third component is called mindset transformation. And the mindset transformation, we are actually promoting girls' agency, to know their rights and to stand up for them, because we want them to be confident. We want them to be informed. We want them to have access to different information so that they're able to actually measure and decide what is it they want to do. Once a girl is transformed, her mindset is empowered, our agency is empowered. Now we move to a second pillar, which is skills development. Skills development is actually the goal is to ensure that girls and young women are competent. They've got skills that are required in the market. So here we have like theoretical skills, practical skills, and by that I mean skills related to production, like of goods and services, skills related to value addition, like marketing, customer service, skills that are related to like technical skills that are required in the job market, so that they're able to like compete in the market and offer something. So this girl is now transformed. This girl is now very well skilled. She want to do things to generate incomes, but she doesn't have resources. So there comes our third pillar, which is linkages to resources and opportunities. So here we link young women with loans, we link young women with capital, we link young women with funding, but also different opportunities like learning opportunities, exchange program opportunities. The goal is to actually ensure they have enough resources that they can invest in what they want to do and produce with our goods or services that can compete in the market. Because we want one thing that we experience that girls, when they want to do things, they do things, but they do it very small because they're limited access to resources. So then after that, we feel like this girl is so empowered, but it's really hard to work if your environment is not enabled. So our fourth pillar, we call it enabling environment. And that is what we don't do alone. We work with other partners, that is different stakeholders, NGOs, private companies, to ensure that we work together to advocate for better laws and policies. Because you can do all of this, but if the law is saying girls are supposed to be married off before age, or women are not supposed to work, it won't make sense.
Mhm.
So the work of advocating for better policies and better laws, that is what we do collectively. So for the past 4 years and a half, this is what we've been doing, and it's been working because we see girls doing things. We think girls are participating in decision making, income generating activities, and becoming supergirls.
Yeah, okay, great. I would like to talk a bit more about what you have achieved so far with your initiative, but let's first go back a bit in time, because I read on your website, the Her Initiative website, that this idea to start the initiative started growing when you were still in high school, and you saw your classmates showing how they did not have opportunities to grow. So can you explain a bit like what really initiated the initiative?
All right. It looks like you did a good research. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I usually say I didn't plan to start a nonprofit organization. It started way back when I was a teenager who joined secondary school first year at a public ward schools. By that time in 2005, Tanzania had introduced public ward schools. These are public schools but within a certain ward. So I was selected there, and we were many students. And I think the idea was to actually increase the number of girls and boys who are enrolled into secondary school. But the moment I got there, I felt like all my dreams were shattered. There were no labs, there were no libraries. We were walking 45 minutes to an hour to go and then another hour to come back. We were limited teachers, and everyone around me that they looked worse than me, So you feel like you've gone to school, but you're bounded to fail. And secondary school takes 4 years in Tanzania. So by the time you're in the last year, there's a national examination. So we did, the number of students who did national examination is lower compared to the number that started. And a lot of girls drop out because of in pregnancies, early marriage, GBV, but extreme poverty also. They could not afford even meals to go to school. So when we did the national examination, we were 199, almost 200 students, but only 9 of us made it to high school. And out of 9, only 3 girls, including myself. So when I got to high school, I had this heavy burden inside of me. I felt like I wasn't the smartest. I felt like I just got lucky. And I felt like there were many boys and girls who had the potential to actually do something, but the environment was not really conducive for them. So that is when we started like in movement with my friends, like let's start a school movement every Friday. We go to different schools and we teach girls, fellow girls about confidence, let's bring role models who can share like, how do you navigate within like difficult environments, like your school, but there are other challenges. How do you navigate that? So we did those campaigns when we were in high school for like 5 schools, which reached 1,000 students. And then when I joined university, I started these popular events also. The idea was also, I'm a university student. I was so broke. I didn't have money. And most of my peers,
I know this feeling.
And most of my peers were getting into risk behaviors to get money. And I don't come from a rich family. I've been raised by only my mom. So we're used to having limited resources at home. So it's like, what do I do? So then I told my friend, let's start events. That's when we started entrepreneurship events in school. They were called Panda events. Panda is a Swahili word that means planting. So the idea of the event is planting a seed of financial independence to college students. So we did like exposure. Girls used to showcase products, their talents, bring different speakers, like recruit, get sponsors. And that is how I was able to manage my personal life in school. And later in the years, after working somewhere, decided to quit my job after 2 years and a half and focus on Her Initiative. So I usually say like it wasn't a plan.
Yeah.
It was just a little girl trying to find a way out of her challenges for her and her peers around her.
Okay, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful story, and you have been very entrepreneurial. So yeah, it's great to hear.
Thank you.
About the successes now, like what have you achieved so far? Can you give a concrete example of what you have enabled with the Her Initiative?
I think before even I go to the numbers, the biggest achievement for me is proof of point or proof of concept that a girl can live her dream, you know, and that girl is myself, you know. So I will say, like, if I could do that, like realize this dream where it is, every girl in the world can do the same. Doesn't matter how big your dream is. So seeing many other young women and girls trying to start nonprofit companies, businesses, you know, working on their talents, for me, I feel that's much of success, because in Tanzania, we have limited role models. You know, you come from communities, you've only seen people in the market, probably, or just teachers. You've never seen a pilot. So being able to see, or you've never seen anybody in your family starting a nonprofit. So being able to see role models like myself and the others to prove like, girls, you can do it, I feel like that's much of a success. But going to what we've done so far, for the past 4 years and a half, we've worked with more than 15,000 young women and girls. And these have been skilled. They've been linked to resources to start their own businesses or to digitize their businesses. And out of that, for the past 4 years, we've enabled more than 120 young women to start new businesses. And these businesses, depending on the value chain, there is like agriculture value addition, there's some of an industrial young women. We've also worked with youth and young women with businesses, but traditional businesses. So we have we've managed to digitize more than 2,000 youth and young women businesses. By digitizing is introducing to the online market, you know, like how can they digitize their operations, their marketing, increasing their sales, tapping into the potential of digital and technology. But we've also worked with girls and young women living in vulnerable communities. One thing that I should say, girls in Tanzania are not homogeneous. They're very heterogeneous. So we work with different groups of girls.
Right.
But apart from the ones that are unemployed that I've spoken about, we work with out-of-school girls, which have dropped out of school due to many circumstances. And we also work with girls who are living with HIV. Because in Tanzania, 40% of new infection are adolescent girls and young women each year.
Yeah,
so
it's very high number.
Yeah, and most of them, they've lost hope and they're not even using their medication. So we work with them to not just accelerate them generate their own income, but to also accelerate their retention to treatment, to show them that, you know what, we're shedding light on your life, that there's more for you. You're not going to die tomorrow, you know. And we've worked with more than 200 girls and young women who are living with HIV and the one who have dropped out of school. But in Tanzania, we've also done some work collectively with others because being a young woman leader, leading a nonprofit, it hasn't been easy. Most funders are not interested to fund young people. They just speak they want to fund young people, but they're not pouring money. So I've also worked with my team. We've also worked to advocate for better funding for youth-led peer organization like ourselves to who are working with women and girls' rights. So up to date, we've supported fellow peer organization like 18 with capacity building, mentorship, and unrestricted seed grants. The purpose is we know as a Her Initiative, we can reach maybe 15,000 people. But if we work with other 20, you know, we're able to reach 1,000, 100,000, 200,000. So it's more around how do we move collectively to reach more people and support more young women and girls.
Yeah, these are impressive numbers, and of course they could increase even more with assistance. Is there perhaps one story of a woman that you have helped and help empower economically? Is there one story that stands out that you'd like to talk about?
I have many.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so I think I would like to talk about Amina. You know, Amina was a university student when she was enrolled to our Panda program that focuses on enabling young women start new businesses. So she was enrolled into a beauty project where she learned how to make nails, like more pedicure and manicure. And she was still in school. So we enrolled her, we taught her how to do it. We taught about digital marketing, financial literacy. And then Amina, when she finished university, she didn't go and get a job. She opened a saloon. Then she got a job. Then she went back to do her saloon. But now she has a bigger saloon. I mean, she has like more than 3 employees. And she is making a lot of money. And her saloon started like small, but now it is way more advanced. She even does hair, So Amina is one of those girls that I always feel if you catch them early, they can do more. So now she will probably be in the streets unemployed. But look at her. She's a boss.
Yeah,
she's employed other young women. So it's also the idea, like, let's catch them early so that they are able to, like, we create a ripple effect of employing other young women and girls.
So she can be an example also to other girls. Yeah. Okay, fantastic to hear. You mentioned that her initiative is built on 4 pillars. The last one was an enabling environment. And that's, of course, very important if you want to upscale the things that you are doing now. I read online that the government of Tanzania has adopted several policies to advance gender equality. However, the legal and regulatory frameworks are not yet aligned. And I think you mentioned earlier that girls are often forced also to marry at an early age. There is a whole discussion about the Marriage Act to increase the minimum age for girls to marry at 18 years old. That remains a critical point of action, just to give an example. So the question is, how enabling is the environment in Tanzania for the type of work that you want to do?
I think we are still in a journey, I would say. We're not there. And because legal frameworks are very important, they set a tone of how the country should move. So once you have like one law that is already discriminating girls and women, it's always like fails other components of a girl's life. So let's say one of the law is the child marriage law, which in our country, it allows a girl to marry, I think, around when she's 14 or 15, under the consent of parents or guardians. So literally, if your parent says you're going to be married, you're going to be married. But at 14, as a child, you're a child, how do you manage a husband and kids? And with that, it means we increase the rate of poverty because this person is not going to be able to produce or anything. But also we increase maternal death rate because they're very young. The whole process of giving birth is, for some, is they don't make it. But also we shut down so many dreams of girls. They're also an issue of gender-based violence because there's an imbalance of power. These are children that are married to elder people. So they experience a lot of GBV mentally, emotionally, and physically. And if this law continues, it means we're going to have a lot of girls that are really hurt by this. So this is one of the law, I think, one of our sister organizations in Tanzania, it's called Msichana Initiative, has been advocating for it. They even won at High Court that marriage should be 18. But even after that, it's been like, I don't know, almost 3 years, 4 years, the parliament has not approved, despite being at High Court, because there are other groups that have got interest in the child marriage, religious groups, traditional groups. So there's a little bit of a negotiation, but once you get to High Court, there's no negotiation because you've already appealed. Because when she won the first time, the government appealed, and then the case was won again. So like the things like this, you keep on asking yourself as a country, saying, where are we going? Why do we want girls to be married before age? Because these are the girls we meet every day. And the problem becomes bigger because I help this one girl and another girl is down for child marriage. But not only that, I also think there are some legal frameworks around gender-based violence. I think we really need strict laws and policy when it comes to that, because now there's a heavy gender-based violence culture in Tanzania. And maybe when it comes to the punishment, it's a little bit easy for most of that. That's why it continues. So I think we need really strong laws that are really protecting the interests of girls. So I would say the government is open for discussion, but I think it needs to act fast. And that is what is not happening. Effort needs to act fast, and especially now because Tanzania has a female president. Very few countries have got female presidents. So we need to show and work more on our advancing gender equality, working more on the rights of women and girls, because we have a woman leadership. But I also understand that as a country, despite the legal frameworks, we have a background that is very patriarchal,
Yeah.
So it goes beyond even the legal frameworks, the community itself, the traditional leaders, the religious leader, the parents, how we're raised at home, boys are raised, you can do anything. You
Yeah.
can be anyone you want to be. And the girls are like, you're going to be a mother, you're going to be a wife.
Yeah. That's a very cultural
you're
aspect.
like, you're boxed.
Yeah.
You're in a way boxed, like, these are some of the things you can do.
Yeah.
And these are not some things you can do. And that's what I even the other day I was speaking to my mentor and I was telling her, I feel like I realized that as a Tanzanian girl, you're born and raised so boxed on your poverty, caste norms, family, this and this. So for you to find your way out, climbing the ladder, you have to unbox many boxes.
Yeah.
Many boxes, including legal frameworks, including traditions, including even your own family, because they feel there are things you can do, but there are things you cannot do. Or including a box of your own self to actually say, I can do this. No, my parents say I can do this, so I really can't do this. So there's so much work needs to be done,
to break through the barriers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, some progress has been made in Tanzania. So you mentioned a female president, which is kind of a symbol of women empowerment, and it's exceptional. But still a lot of work has to be done. How do you see the country moving forward, let's say, from now in 10 years? Do you think that Tanzania is going into the right direction towards more gender equality? Or will the barriers be too large and too difficult to break through?
I think for now we have a community that is really aware of what type of community we are, what we want with our country compared to the years in the past. So people are more informed and people have more agency to demand for change. So I'm really hopeful. I would say I'm hopeful that I don't think these things will remain as they are, because individuals, organizations, advocates, activists, they're all questioning every day. And the more we keep on questioning and demanding, I believe we're going to see results. So I wouldn't say like after 10 years, we're going to be like, oh, we're going to be in the worst position. Maybe after 10 years, we will not have the child marriage law a problem, because maybe both boys and girls will be married when they're 18. Maybe we will have more strong laws and policies around gender-based violence. So I'm really hopeful. And I think for girls like myself, and even for boys, we're all more like wanting a better future for our country. And for now, it's not even about just girls, because we live in a community where when you have a girl who's educated, a girl's like financially independent, they have so much to offer in the family.
Yeah.
Even how they raise their kids. We're not really raising shy and, incapacitated kids, but we're raising kids that we say both girls and boys can do it. Like mom is doing it. Mom is a working mom and she's good, So you think like, I can work and have a family, which more before it was like, it's either you work and have a family or choose to work or be at home. So now more choices is coming in, and I'm really hopeful that in the next few years, we'll probably have a different Tanzania.
And then everyone would gain from that, right? Now going back, this is my last question, to the Her Initiative. Where do you see this going? Where do you think you will be in also, let's say 10 years from now? Or what would you like to have achieved by then?
So the two things, there's Her Initiative and there's Lydia. But I think in 10 years to come, I would probably not be at Her Initiative, because I believe we should be young women led and with more youth vibrancy way of doing it. But I see Her Initiative like really expanded in the country and in the nearby countries, particularly in East Africa, being able to replicate some of Her Initiative models like the Panda Digital, the digital platform that supports young women with the same skills and linkages to resources by using technology, that is a website and artificial intelligence powered SMS. The idea is to actually also bridge the gap of not gender divide only, but also rural-urban divide for girls. Like rural-urban girls should also get the same. So I see models like Panda Digital expanded in East Africa. I see Her Initiative being in more than 26 regions in Tanzania. I see Her Initiative reaching to over like 500,000 young women and girls. I see Her Initiative really becoming iconic and a brand that is not just inspiring, but living the truth of a Tanzanian girl, you know. But as for me, I see myself becoming a funder. I think I'm done being an implementer.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much that needs to be done in the funding structures, especially ensuring that really the money is trickling down to the communities, and all the funding criterias and systems. I feel that there are still these big robots that need to be broken down. So I don't know how, because they say to be a funder, you have to be either rich or come from rich family.
Or no rich people.
Yes, because I'm none of that. But I feel I want to move to that side so that I can stream more resources in the communities and to leaders like myself in that in 10 years to actually do actual work in transforming the community. So yeah, that's also thinking like, how do I hand over and not keep on doing, because this is not Lydia's, this is like a community dream. This is something that we have to do for our country. So that's how I see, and probably with a new leader there'll be more, but I see a very good future for her initiative.
You're a very inspiring young lady.
Thank you.
This was a wonderful conversation. It's very interesting to hear how an idea that started small has grown so big, and with the right enabling environments, also politically, legally, and so on, there is so much potential. And I want to share the hope that you have. It was very, very nice
Thank you very
to hear.
much.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Okay.